Morning Dish.
He's the hardest working man in show business. His band's music takes you into the midnight hours. And when you wake up, his voice is back on your radio alarm clock. How on earth did this happen?
Well, Jeff saw me taking out the trash at the radio station.
And he won another award.
But this one is better.
I'm your boogeyman. That's what I am.
It's the Morning Dish with the 2019 Radio Personality of the Year winner, Stephen Phillips.
You paying attention to this, Packy?
And Murphy's own Sherry Raines.
Yeah, you must have given horseback passes to the right guy, Stephen.
Well, giddy up.
And Packy Smith's Shetland pony is right alongside.
You guys know these demo tapes don't just edit themselves together, right?
Well, all right.
3 cheers for Stephen Phillips.
Y'all need to help Stephen Phillips out over there. Out the door and off the radio.
Here's Stephen Phillips.
All righty, folks, we're back with you. We have got Kent Perkins on here, man. Actor, writer. He's known for everything you can think of. A big Texas guy from Texas. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Man, that's good to hear from you, brother. I guarantee you that. So how's the weather in Texas?
Right now it's about 75 degrees and absolutely perfect.
That's what.
About 8 days ago, it was 4 degrees below zero right here.
Man, that's the way it is here in Georgia. You know, one day you wake up and the sun's shining, and the next day it's snowing. That keeps you going, I guarantee it. Man, you are involved in a lot of stuff, and you're actually married to Ruth Buzzi, which is one of my favorites. I love her. She's got to be so much fun to be around.
Yeah, for 42 years.
Wow.
She's been my Hollywood war bride.
There you go. I'll guarantee it. Well, she is something else. There's no doubt about it, so tell her we said hello. But it's great to get to talk to you. You've got a lot of stuff going on. Now, you was actually you was in the Nashville Palace. You was in that, wasn't that right?
Yeah, Nashville Palace was a lot of fun. We filmed it at the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
And so I can actually say I got to play on the main stage of the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville.
Oh, I'd love to do
And
that.
worked with all my heroes in the music business at that time. George Jones, Tammy Wynette, everybody, Roy Rogers and the Sons of the Pioneers. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow. That is crazy. I mean, I would just love to play on the stage just one time. I've stood on it, but then they kicked me out, so you know how that goes.
They kicked you out. Yeah. Those pesky security people do that.
They do that. I told him I was on stage one time with Alan Jackson, and he looked over at me, and the only thing he said was security, so that's about the way that goes.
Well, we were driving through Nashville on a Saturday evening about a year ago, coming back from the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green.
Oh, yeah.
And we just decided to take a chance and go by the Opry and see if the Grand Ole Opry was in session. And sure enough, they were there. The parking lot was loaded, and we drove up to the back gate where talent goes.
Right.
And I just introduced the security guard to Ruth Buzzi, and then he picked up the phone and called backstage, and they sent for us, and we just left our car right there, got right straight backstage, and we got to sit in the green room for that whole thing. And, man, Vince Gill came out and grabbed Ruthie by the hand and walked her out to the stage and introduced her to whatever 3,000 people there.
Wow.
And it was a real thrill for her. They loved seeing her, and she took a bow and had a good time.
Oh, man, she's something else. She's made a lot of folks laugh. Now, tell me something. Now, you're in this movie that's fixing to be released with John Snyder, right?
Yes.
What is the name of this movie?
It's called 1 Month Out.
Right.
And the principal players are Barry Bostwick and, of course, Ruthie and Vernon Wells.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
There's some great actors in that show.
Well, now tell me something.
And we had a good time doing it. John Schneider's fun to work with.
Yeah, he seemed like a good guy.
You can imagine.
I want to know something, though. Somebody give me a little, I got a little bit. You always hear this gossip on the National Enquirer, but was there something about maybe you was probably going to be Bo Duke at one time?
Well, now, the truth is, I was the first person that was actually selected for that part, but it wasn't approved by the executive producers at the TV network. But the director told me I was in like Flint. I had done a movie for him. His name was Rod Amato.
Right.
Fantastic director, a wonderful guy, and he wanted me for the part of Bo Duke. But we went to they had what they call calls and callbacks. Right. And on the third callback, they had weeded out 300 people. down to 2 people. It was just me and John Schneider.
Right.
And I'd never heard of John Schneider, never seen him before. He blew in from upstate New York.
Yeah, he was
And
dang
he was
Yankee.
17 years old.
Yeah.
And he completely defrauded everybody. He told him he was 19. And he came in with a 6-pack of ice-cold beer under his arm in a torn-up old T-shirt. And he just fit the part so well. He spoke with a Southern accent. And nobody would have ever guessed he was a 17-year-old miner from upstate New York. He blew them out of their seats. And I didn't have a stinking chance in the world.
Well, now, was that before?
Once he showed up.
Was that before everybody drank the beer or after they drank the beer that he got the part?
Well, I did my audition first,
Right.
and they were polite. I got a little nice applause, and I left, and then I heard them screaming and just carrying on
Right.
In there when he came in, and he walked around and handed each of the executive in the room a beer, ice cold beer, which was the perfect setup.
Right.
To meet Bo Duke, a good old boy. He was just brilliant. And I told him later, it took me 30 years, but I finally told him, John, I'm glad you got the part. I could never have knocked it out of the park like you did. He was unbelievable as Bo Duke. Still is in reruns.
Yeah, that's. I think it'd been. I mean, it'd been great though if it'd been you and Ruth. Gosh, almighty, let Ruth be like Daisy Duke. Oh, that'd been the way to go. That's the way.
Well, we've had a great time. We've had a great life. I can't complain. My first job as an actor was a lead role in a Columbia motion picture.
Right.
And 10 years later, I found myself doing beer commercials, and I realized I had started at the top and worked my way to the bottom of show business. So I kind of slid out of that and started my own business, which actually worked out a lot better.
Yeah. Well, I'm here. I'm like you. I'm on the bottom. So there you go. So.
It's a comfortable spot. There's a lot less pressure down here.
Yeah, I guarantee it. No, you've done great. Now, you're in Texas, man. We read, I guess it was yesterday, we read that Matthew McConaughey is planning on running for governor. What do you think about that? Can I ask you about that?
I think he'll win it.
You think he's going to do it?
I think if he runs, I think he'll win. Texas, they hired Sam Houston, and they had to find him under a bridge. He was drunk.
Yeah.
To tell him that he was governor. We like those people that are a little edgy, a little different. Kinky Friedman almost made it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
In 2006, and Kinky and I have been best friends for 45 years, so I was supporting him for governor. And he called a press conference on the steps of the Alamo where he asked for Rick Perry's unconditional surrender.
Yeah.
I thought it took some nerve.
Well, now, if y'all pull out of the Union, I'm moving to Texas, so I hope you got a little spot of land there I can set my trailer on.
Yes, the Texas Republic.
There you go.
We're planning on having our own republic here before too long. It looks like it's going to be necessary.
Yeah. Golly, the world has gone crazy. We're trying our best to be politically correct, but we ain't doing too good at it.
You know what? If you try too hard to please everybody, you'll end up in the dumpster.
Yeah, you're right.
You just got to be who you are.
Yeah.
And be true to yourself and be respectful of everybody and everyone's thoughts. I don't like thought police. I'm very, very open to anybody else's opinion, and I learned nothing my whole life from someone who agreed with me. So I don't mind people disagreeing with me.
Well, you're right about that. I never thought about that. So now, what kind of business was you in? I mean, you said you got out of the entertainment business. What did you get into?
Well, before I was an actor, I was actually an investigator for a bank. And so in California, I got involved doing between acting jobs, working for a big PI firm, and I sort of learned the corporate investigation culture.
Right.
And so at the appropriate time, when I retired from the Screen Actors Guild after 10 years, I started my own PI firm. And over the next 12 years, I built it up to the largest PI firm on the West Coast, serving employers with corporate investigations, theft, and drugs in the workplace.
Oh, wow. Well, that's pretty
So
impressive.
my biggest clients were big movie studios,
right,
and the big motion picture lots. They had lots and lots of stuff to investigate, theft and drugs, things like very important props from iconic movies.
Right.
Sometimes get stolen. Like a Batman costume
Well,
ended up in Japan in a private collection. Things like that.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So we had a great deal of work to do, and I had up to 26 investigators working for me, and it was a field day. We had a great time. I just kind of got tired of all the drama and hard work, and now we're retired, living on the Texas ranch.
Oh, yeah.
Ruthie and I both completely retired.
Yeah, I've got a beautiful place. Every time I think about private investigators, though, I always have to go back to the Rockford Files, you know.
There's nobody greater than James Gardner. and we got to know him. Actually, he was a friend of ours. We had breakfast with him every year at the Indy 500.
Yeah, he's there. Yeah, he was good.
And my wife raced against him in the 70s.
Really?
In an off-road Jeep race where she came in 5th place.
Wow.
And she's the first person to ever burn out a brake light during a race. She was terrified the whole time.
I did not know that. We actually got, I call him Angel Martin, but we got Stewart going to be on next week. We're pretty excited about that. We ain't heard from him in a long time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, yeah, Ruthie, like I said, your wife is something else as far as it comes to comedy, man. She has been with the greats, and she's one of
the very few people, and certainly the only woman who ever beat up Muhammad Ali.
Really? Well, that's pretty impressive.
That she on the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast at the MGM Grand.
I remember that. Yep.
She came out and she destroyed the place. She had the nerve to actually whip him up with her purse, and she defeated old Muhammad right then and there.
You know, Muhammad was he was ahead of the game on. I feel like, because he get out and he talk and how he's gonna whoop this one and that one, and he had people that hated him and he had them that loved him, and they both watched him just because of that reason.
Well, he was a genius showman.
Yeah, he had.
And he's a poor kid from a relatively poor family who fought his way literally to the top of the world. He became the most famous face on planet Earth. I mean, it was Elvis, Jesus, and Muhammad Ali, the three most famous faces on the globe.
Yeah.
And he was a wonderful guy too. We became friends after Ruthie whipped him. we became friends. Had dinner with him a number of times, and just never forget the times we had with Muhammad and his wife.
Yeah,
they were wonderful, wonderful, wonderful friends.
Oh, Waylon Jennings. I think he's actually Shooter Jennings' godfather, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I could be wrong about that, but I really think that Waylon Jennings made Muhammad Ali his godfather, but I'm not sure.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
Muhammad was very approachable, very open, very humble. I've been around celebrities for a long time, being married to a 5-time Emmy nominee and Golden Globe winner.
Right.
We've been around a lot of celebrities. But when we went into a restaurant with Muhammad Ali, I never saw anything like the reaction that always got. You walk into a room with him, and the room goes silent. Everybody's quiet, and the whole room turns and stares and watches every move he makes. And often, the room, you walk into a big restaurant full of people, it would get quiet and then suddenly break out in applause as people gave him a standing ovation from their tables.
Yeah, I can believe it.
I never saw anything like that before. He could have run for president.
I'm just going to say, just like, your wife and a lot of the Muhammad Ali and that kind of people, what I call really stars that are classy. I just think, I don't see that nowadays. It's a shame,
back when we first got married, Frank Sinatra was at our wedding party. Ann Murray was my wife's bridesmaid.
Wow.
We got married the week that she opened in Las Vegas at the MGM, and she actually turned her opening night party into our wedding party, and Frank Sinatra attended.
Wow.
And, I'm not starstruck too easily, but I was starstruck that night.
Yeah.
I met Frank Sinatra on my wedding night.
That is pretty cool. And how long you been married?
We've been married 42 years. It'll be 43 in December.
Wow. So has she ever beat you up with her pocketbook? Now, don't lie. Tell us the truth.
That's personal.
Yes. I bet she won.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
No one defeats Ruthie on any level. But she's a sweetheart.
Well, now, you're a great guy, too. I've heard a lot of folks talk about you, Mr. Perkins, and they have a lot of respect for you. And but now this movie coming out, tell us again what the name of it is. When is it going to be?
It's called 1 Month Out, written and directed by John Schneider. And it's a real treat. It's a psycho thriller.
Right.
And Ruthie does not play there's some comedy involved in her character, but it's basically a pretty serious part.
Right.
And the movie works on a lot of different levels, and it's an absolute miracle because right after we shot the movie, they had the big flood down there in Holden, Louisiana.
Right.
And John Schneider's beautiful old mansion on the farm down there where he shot the film at his studio. Water was coming through the front door, going out the back door, from the Tickfaw River that had overflown.
Right.
And, I mean, there were fish, snakes, and alligators swimming through his house, and all of the film was digital at that point, and it was on a computer. And the Cajun Navy went into the house in the dark with headlights on, wading through snakes and all the critters to go and try to save that film, and they found it up on a shelf in a computer that was about half an inch from the water level.
Wow.
As the water was rising. And just by miracle, someone grabbed that computer, lifted it up. John had told them where to find it. They lifted that computer up, kept it above the water, and saved it. And John was able to put the thing together and edit it in his spare time, which he has very little of.
He's a worker, there's no doubt.
He's a hard-working guy, and one of the nicest people you'll ever know, I guarantee you.
Yeah, yeah. And that was, about 2 years ago, I think, when that happened?
It was actually longer than that. The flood was actually 4 years ago.
4 years,
That was
wow.
right after we filmed it. But so it's a miracle that the thing survived the flood. But it's a treat to watch. You won't be bored for a second. And it's one of those films that has twists and turns, as I say, more twists and turns than the back roads of Hazard County.
There you go. Well, Kent, we got to get to a break, and we'll be looking at this. And I appreciate you taking your time out for us out here in Georgia, and I hope everything's good in Texas out there for you. If you got anything else going on, call us back, man. We'd love to get back on and tell that sweet wife of yours that we all say hello and we love you both.
I'll do that. We send it right back to you, and the pressure was all mine.
There you go. You take care now.
Take care.
Thank you for listening. This is Stephen Phillips, host of The Morning Dish. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel because we have a lot more interviews out there to listen to. Plus, you can listen online every morning at WJULradio.com or Lake 97.7 WJUL. And give us a like on our Facebook page, The Morning Dish.